So for today's video guys, I will be guiding you on how to apply for a German student visa. Yes, for all those who are new in this channel, I had my master's degree obtained in Germany, and so I am aware on how to apply for a German student visa. So yes guys, if you are accepted already to do your bachelor's or your master's or your PhD or your medical studies here in Germany, then this video is for you. So what are you waiting for? Sit down, relax, enjoy, and learn with me. Good morning! Isang napakagandang umaga. Buenos dias! Bon dia! Ein guten Morgen! Bonjour! Calamera! Dobry otro! This is your Filipino hamburger and welcome back to my channel. So yes guys, applying for a German student visa is not that complicated, especially if you have already the admission from the university, okay? So what I'm trying to say is, if you have successfully applied for a university program, and if you already have that admission letter on your hand, then the process of applying for a student visa will go smoothly, unless you are a threat to the German security. And I hope that's not the case, okay? So the main question is, what do I need? What are the requirements in applying for a German student visa? Well, basically the requirements can be found online. They are all over the internet. But, like what I've said, I will guide you based on what I have experienced when I applied for my German student visa 8 years ago. Almost 8 years ago. So to start with, admission letter. Yes guys, if you are applying for a student visa, then you have to have with you already the official admission letter from a German university or higher education institution. And that could be an Universität oder eine Fachhochschule. Okay? Or maybe a specialized schools such as a music school, a conservatory, or an art school. So you have to have that admission letter there, official one with the university stamp or the university head letter, and signed by the admission committee or the admission office of the university, saying that Mr. Juan de la Cruz is accepted or has been accepted to do a bachelor's or a master's or a PhD degree in so and so and so. The purpose of this letter is to prove that yes, you have already a spot to study the bachelor program or master's program in that particular university in that city in Germany. Okay? So that's the major or one of the most important requirement when you apply for a student visa, letter of admission. Okay, great. So let's move to the next requirement. So the next requirement is proving that you can support yourself or your studies in Germany. So how? Through your financial capacity. So you have to prove if you have enough funds. Like what I've said, you have to prove if you have enough funds to support your studies and your basic needs while living and studying in Germany. And how do you do this? There are three options for you to do that. First, you can prove your financial capacity by opening a blocked account in a certain bank, not necessarily in Germany's biggest national banks, but you know, there are several banks in Germany where you can opt for a block account. As of January of 2021, if I'm not mistaken, the required amount per year, okay? The required amount per year is roughly 10,300 euros. So you have to make sure that you have this certain amount, 10,300 euros, in your blocked account, okay? And that means you cannot withdraw this amount at one setting. but you are limited to withdraw it per month. The rationale behind this blocked account is that there are a lot of people who think they are wise. They will borrow a lot of money from several people and deposit it on their account and show it to the embassy. And once they have their visa, then they will return the money to the people, who helped them. So, for this to be avoided, maybe the German government thought, okay, why not require a blocked account? In this case, you can only withdraw a certain amount per month from your bank account. Okay? In that case, if you put 10,300 years on your bank account, then you can only withdraw I think roughly between 750 to 800 years a month maximum. You cannot really get more than that, because the idea there again is to make sure that that amount that you deposited in your bank will help you survive for the next year. Okay? So that's the first option, having a blocked account. Next, how can you prove that you are financially capable of supporting yourself? And that is through scholarship. If you have a scholarship, if you receive a scholarship from an organization in Germany or from somewhere else, then you just have to prove your financial capacity through the scholarship letter. You have to attach that in your application document saying that, okay, Mr. Juan de la Cruz got a full scholarship for his 2-year master's program in XYZ at University of XYZ in the city of XYZ. If you're a scholar of the German government or a German organization, there's a high probability that you will not pay for the visa application. Third option, okay, what if I don't have the money? What if I don't have a scholarship? Then maybe you have someone living in Germany who could sponsor you and do the formal obligation, also known as the Verpflichtungserklärung. Whew, that's so tough to pronounce. Yes, Verpflichtungserklärung is the formal obligation. It can be done by a German citizen or someone who is residing in Germany, may it be a permanent one or not, as long as he or she has the financial capacity to support you. So, what is Verpflichtungserklärung or formal obligation? This is a certain document that your sponsor or your family member or your partner from Germany will get from the Ausländerbehörde or from the Foreigners Office. And in this document, the person who is giving you this document is obliged to support you for your studies and for your basic needs while studying in Germany. So that's the formal obligation or the Verpflichtungserklärung option. Okay? Last but not the least, there's also another option for you to show or to prove that you have the financial capacity to pursue your studies in Germany. And that is having your parents write an obligation letter. If you opt for this option, having your parents vouch for your finances, they have to submit as well their bank statement for the last 6 months. So that means when you apply for the student visa, you have to have the written declaration saying that they are supporting you financially, and as an attachment, you have to have their bank statement for the last 6 months. So these are your 4 options on how to prove your financial capacity to pursue your studies in Germany. Okay? Great! So moving on, next requirement is health insurance. Yes, health insurance is mandatory for everyone who will live or who resides in Germany. So as a student, you have to have your insurance as well. Well, there are a lot of options for you as a student. I mean, you can opt for private insurance companies or for public ones. Most of the time, you find cheaper options from certain private companies. However, their coverage or their services is limited. So you really have to consider which one to choose depending on your budget. Because your monthly due for your insurance, for your health insurance, also depends on how much you have or your income. How old are you? Are you younger than 26 years old? Or are you older than 30 years old? Or are you already 40 years old? Your monthly payment for your health insurance will really vary. So next requirement, language certificate or proof of your language proficiency. Yes guys, you have to submit as well a document proving that you have already a certain level of German. So if your study program is in German, you have to be already in C1 level. Okay, but sometimes there are also scholarship programs where they send their scholars 6 months before their studies earlier. 6 months earlier before their studies commence, because they will do an intensive language program where they will start from 0 to B1 or B2. So that would be another story if that's your case. Otherwise, you have to prove that you have certain level of the German language. Okay? Well, if you are applying for a non-German taught program, then if I'm not mistaken, you have to have at least A1 still, okay? And also you have to prove that you are capable of using the English language for your program if your program is an English taught program. So how do you prove that? Through the results of the standardized tests that you have taken, such as IELTS, TOEFL, or whatsoever. Okay? But I think, if I'm not mistaken, at least during my time, as an applicant from the Philippines, we are, or I was exempted to take TOEFL or IELTS because English is one of the official languages in the country. Well, if that's the situation, then you just have to secure a document or a certification from the university registrar saying that your bachelor's program back home was taught in English, or your basic education back home was completely done in English, and then through that you will be exempted to take IELTS or TOEFL. Next requirement, motivation letter. Yes guys, you have to write a motivation letter stating why are you going to Germany to do your studies there. So you have to write down your reasons, your motivations. Why are you going to Germany to do a master's degree or a PhD degree? I mean, you should not be over dramatic. Make it more authentic and natural, okay? Because people would know if you are just faking it. Yeah? Great! Well, last but not the least, of course, you should not forget to fill up the application form properly. This application form you can find online. You can download this from the official website of the German embassy in your home country, and also you have to have certain pieces of biometric photo, which is usually same size with your passport photo. So just double check the specifics about the biometric photos to avoid troubles during your visa appointment. Once you have all your documents for your student visa application, then it's about time to do the online appointment for your visa interview. I mean, you have to do it as early as possible because tendency is there's a long queue. You might run out of time if you do it on the last minute. So my advice is complete all your requirements as early as possible so that you can also set an appointment as early as possible so that you won't miss your flight and you won't miss your orientation week in your university in Germany. So these are the major requirements that I had to work on. Before we end this video, let me just talk about what are you allowed to do as a student or while having a student visa. If you are in a student visa, you are allowed to do part-time jobs. Yes guys, you heard me right. As a foreign student, you are allowed to work at least or not more than 22 hours per week. You have to check in which Bundesland are you in, because that may vary from Bundesland to Bundesland. But yes, if I remember it correctly, during my time, someone can work between 20 and 22 hours maximum per week, or 120 days full-time per year. So you have to check on that. And with this student visa, when you arrive in Germany, you are allowed to convert the student visa into a resident permit. So what I'm trying to say here is, once you arrive in Germany, you go to the foreigner's office and say, hey, I have this 90-day student visa and now I want to apply for Aufenthaltsgenehmigung, or the residence permit. And that will depend on how long the program that you are enrolled in. So if your program is for 2 years, then your Aufenthaltsgenehmigung or your residence permit will also be for 2 years. Sometimes they will just give you 1 year depending on your financial capacities. If you only have 10,300 euros in your bank for 1 year, then most probably they will give you only for 1 year residence permit. But if you already deposited 25,000 euros, for example, on your blocked bank account, then they might give you automatically 2 years of Aufenthaltsgenehmigung, which will last until you finish your program. So, last but not least, what else can I do with my student visa? Once you are done with your program, once you have successfully completed your program, you can switch this visa to a job search visa. And that will be the topic of our next video, on how to apply for a job search visa after completing your studies in Germany. So yes guys, that's it for today. I hope I was able to provide you some tips, and I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. And if you guys want to contact me, if you want me to guide you with your application, feel free to write down your comments in the comment section below, or send me private messages on my social media accounts, and I will try my best to reply to your messages and to your questions as soon as I can. So thank you once again for staying until the last minute of this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And this is your Filipino hamburger who wants to say, if you are informed, you have nothing to worry. Have a nice day!